Into it. So we are finally releasing duplicate management. Woohoo!
Yeah.
How many points is that retiring?
Oh, it's just a mere 66,000 ID exchange points. That's it.
Points.
Yeah, that was just a day's work. So we're pretty excited about this. The first iteration of this feature in Salesforce is going to allow you to block and alert and report on duplicates. We've built in sophisticated matching rules, kind of help you design this to fit your data needs. Mm-hmm. One of the things that's great about this feature is that other than the fact, like we always talk about duplicate management, but the benefit is actually across the user base. Like if you look at users that are adding new records, for example, that they don't have to go search first to see if the record exists, and administrators and operations folks that are always having to worry about the duplicate problem and not focusing on the business, now they can actually focus on the business. And then finally, sales management is just going to say, okay, I know my forecast is now unique records. I don't have multiple opportunities or multiple accounts for those opportunities. They're actually making the forecast, I guess, not as good as it should be. So we're pretty excited. We did a pretty extensive pilot and beta with our customers. It was very well received and well, I guess, attended and used. What was great about the feedback that we actually got, we did a survey just about a week ago with our beta customers, and 40% of those customers, believe it or not, took a beta feature and put it into production. So,
wow.
so we're quite proud of that. So 40%, and then the other 87% total said that they're going to have this deployed in production by the time it's GA, and it was various reasons from having to get approval, go through their process. But 87%, we're going to put it in GA. That's a testament, I think, to the work that our teams did.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So duplicate management, if you have Spring 15 installed in your org and it's enabled, you'll see duplicate management in the administration section under the data.com administration piece. And just one note, it is labeled data.com duplicate management, but this is actually included for Sales and Service Cloud customers with Professional Edition and above. There's no license that you actually have to purchase for data.com to actually use this service, but since we developed it, we're kind of proud of it, and we wanted our brand name to kind of be hitched to that feature.
Well, I mean, with 40% using moving it from sandbox to production during the beta phase, and 87% of people saying that they're going to deploy it as soon as possible, you guys have every right to be proud.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of the box, one of the things that we also worked on during this time was to build some features in terms of so you can actually get up and going really quickly. And as part of that was building some standard matching rules. I mean, matching is not an easy thing, especially if you want to do fuzzy matching. It is fuzzy. So we built some standard matching rules for accounts, contacts, and leads, so get people up and running really quickly. I think for most of our customers, this is a good solution to go in. And I think about 50% of the rules that were deployed during beta were all using the standard. But if that doesn't meet your needs, great. We have custom matching rules also available. You can go create you can use exact logic or fuzzy logic on accounts, contacts, and leads, or custom objects, and create your own matching rules that fit your business needs. One of the features that I'm really excited about, if it's not clear, I'm excited about this feature. This is cross-object matching. Now, this is the ability that when you're in a particular object, let's say you go into a lead and you add a new record or trying to clone a record, and we can actually tell you that time that there is a corresponding record in a contact or a custom object, or even that an account already exists for this particular lead. So beyond just duplicate management, I think the use cases go towards marketing, towards lots of other cases that I probably haven't even thought about, but it's just a case of one of the SCs was just bringing up that, hey, this is great. So if marketing is adding a new lead, we already know that the salesperson is talking to him because it's already a contact. How do we make that correlation? So this is a great feature that I'm pretty excited about. One of the things with duplicate prevention in Spring 15 is that really it's going to be enabled on any interface that you use. So be it using on Salesforce One mobile, you'll get the same experience on desktop. Look and feel is different, but the result is really the same. We'll tell you if you have any potential duplicates, and then allow the user to proceed or not, depending on how the administrator has set up the feature.
Incredible.
Another feature that the Sales Cloud team actually worked on was the lead and campaign management team worked on was lead conversion. So one of the things that we wanted to do was that as we are converting a lead to an account, a contact, or an opportunity, make sure that we are actually respecting the duplicate management rules that are set up. So this will be in beta in Salesforce 1. This is an open beta, so this is something you can actually go ahead and turn on in your organization and go ahead and give it a spin.
Cool. So if I understand that correctly, with that last piece that you were talking about, if I was converting a lead into an account, a contact, and an opportunity, if that person already exists as a contact, is it going to say, you can create these other records, but we see that Mary Kay or Mary May or whoever she may be already exists as a contact. Would you like to use this contact instead? Exactly.
That's exactly what it does. So it will tell you if it exists, and if you want to proceed, you can choose one of those contacts, or if not, you can say, no, it's not, and I want to create a new one.
That is very impressive.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's switch over to a demo. I'm first going to go to my laptop here and show you the administration and how we set this up. So if we can switch to the laptop. Okay, so this is the duplicate management section under data.com administration. You can see we have a couple of different things to kind of configure. The first thing would be to kind of configure your matching rules. And I'm going to go ahead and filter this down to just my leads. So you can actually see I have a number of active matching rules for leads. There is a number that you can actually have. This is not an infinite number of matching rules you can have. I believe that the number is actually 5 matching rules per object. So you can see these are the ones that I've actually created custom ones, and there is the standard rule. If you want to find out more information in terms of how the matching rule was created for standard, you can click on more and it'll take you to help and training, and you can actually see it over there. Let me just pull up one of my rules and kind of show you what it looks like. So this is a rule that I kind of created. This is a custom one, uses first name fuzzy, last name fuzzy, so on and so forth. So this is a rule that I kind of created. You can create this criteria and set up filter condition or logic however you want to. So it's pretty robust. Let me switch over to the duplicate rules, and I'm going to filter down again to my lead object. So I have 2 duplicate rules for my lead setup, and you can actually have multiple, and they can actually get fired or trigger in sequence that you've set up. The first one that I'm going to pull up is going to show you that it has actually 3 rules. I'm going to look at trigger the first standard matching rule for leads that we actually have. Then I'm going to actually do a cross-object using the standard contact matching rule. And then finally, I'm just going to do a quick lookup of an exact name to an account. And if I go into edit mode, you can actually see how these are all set up. And one of the things that we've also done is that if you use custom objects or you have custom fields that perhaps you're not using the standard fields, you can actually go into the mapping editor and change how we are mapping and what fields mean what. So once your rule is activated, you can also set up and tell users if you want to, or from an administration perspective, set it up to either block or allow a duplicate. If you allow a duplicate, it will alert them, and it will also report it potentially if you want to set that up. So now let me switch over and show you my desktop experience, and then we'll switch over to mobile one. And okay, I'm going to pick an existing lead that I actually have, and just for sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and clone this and not make any changes. So let's say I'm in a rush and I'm just going to create John Amos, and he works at Global Media and he's the VP, and I'm going to go and say save, and you can see what it actually did. It first said, I have an existing record as a lead. Maybe you want to use that one. Well, I'll clone that one, that makes sense. Then I have 2 actually duplicate records in accounts that I just want to know that, hey, there's already an account there, there's potentially some activity there. And then I also have contacts, and you can actually see one of the contacts has better information than I actually have. I don't even have the phone number, I don't have the address. So I may want to be able to just go to that one and then start from that contact versus trying to create a new one. If I choose to say save and ignore, it will go ahead and save it because I've just set this up as a warning, but it will in the background actually report this, so as an administrator I can actually go ahead and run a report and see what duplicates have been created.
Very cool.
So now let's switch over to
See how it looks on the mobile device?
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the lead object and going to pick the same record. And again, go ahead and clone it. And I'm going to go say save. Oh, so did you mean these records?
Wow.
I have a lead. I have a couple of accounts. I can see the cards. And if I can click on it, and the contacts. So again, do you want to go to this contact? Yep, actually, you know what? I'm going to go straight to this contact. That's the one that I want to use. Oh. And I think, clicked on something here.
But what we saw was that if you are looking into Salesforce One and you're beginning to create that lead, the exact same way as happens on the desktop in a different user interface, you get presented with the options of, we recognize what you're trying to do. We think that these may already exist here. Would you rather use this already predetermined, hopefully clean data, as opposed to creating something and possibly introducing a duplicate into the system?
Exactly. And how many times have you told the salesperson or a user, it's like, well, couldn't you have searched first before you created it? But just that takes time.
time for that.
And if you're on a mobile device, you don't have time to go fumble around and trying to search for it. It's like, let me just add this really quickly, and we will do that search before create for you.
Exactly. And what seemed really powerful about it was that it not only presented you, at least in the desktop interface, with not just the potential matches, but with almost in a console view, all of the information that you might want to edit if something was recorded wrong that led to a potential duplicate match.
Exactly. Great. So let me just switch over to my laptop here and show the slide, one more slide. Before we take any more questions. So we actually have a pretty active community. We've opened up our beta collaboration group on success committees and made it public. There was a lot of experiences that were learned and what our customers were actually doing, so we want to open that up. So please join and get active. We're definitely monitoring it. There's actually a bunch of expert customers right now. They've already started answering all the questions. So it's a great place to start.
Excellent. So be sure to head to that community. Now, I'm sure I've got tons of questions for you, but I'm sure those would all be duplicate questions from what people online must be asking.
Let's dedupe.
So let's dedupe and go to Sam.
Well, so first of all, I just created a bit.ly link for your group, so it makes it easy for people to find.
Great.
So, and I just tweeted it, so you'll see it out on Twitter. I called it, I can't remember what I called it because that was like 20 tweets ago, but I'll find it. But it'll make it easier for you, everybody to find.
Perfect.
So look on Twitter. Probably I love this question. What if you're using the Dupe management tool and you're importing records via the API or using data import, one of the built-in wizards, what happens?
That's a great question. So the APIs do respect the error that's created through the duplicate rule. The behavior today through the API would be that it would actually block the user from entering it, and the error message would be that there is a duplicate already. We are working on a feature for Summer to allow you to override that behavior, very similar to what you do in the user interface, where you can actually say ignore and continue. Today, the API will block, but as of Summer Safe Harbor, we'll be able to override that capability. But data loader will error out. The import wizards will also create an error and say there's essentially a duplicate.
And when you say it errors out, you're importing a batch. It'll continue to import the other records.
Correct.
You'll just see an
that
error
particular
message.
record.
Got it. Okay.
And you actually have the capability to, like, if you have a choice and you say, hey, I want to be able to potentially create duplicates through that process, and you just want to report it, you can actually go create a rule that is essentially a silent reporter.
Okay.
So it doesn't warn and doesn't block, but it reports the fact that duplicate was created, and then you can create a report and take action on it at that time.
So, Shalom, Valeria, there's lots of people that ask that question. Shout out to Steve Moe, who says we all just need to take a moment of silence for duplicate management.
Oh, nice.
So there you go, Steve.
Thanks,
that was
Steve.
for you. The URL that I created so you guys can find this link is really important. So it's called, it's a bit.ly link, and it's Salesforce DM. So you can utilize that going forward.
Perfect.
Find it really fast because you guys are going to want to find out more information about that. A couple other things. Let's reiterate, you do not need to use have a data.com license for duplicate management, correct?
That's correct.
And what editions duplicate management is available for?
So duplicate management is available to our Sales Cloud and Service Cloud customers with Professional Edition and above.
Professional edition and above. And I think that that's what I'm seeing right now that are the trending questions. Shall we just take questions in general across all of after we do the feedback? Or
Absolutely. So we actually have a couple minutes left. Let's fire off a couple more questions, and then we'll sign off.
Okay, alrighty. So let me see. We answered the API. Does the mapping editor also look at the standard local name field? Oh, what a good question. So when you are looking at an account, you have a local name feature. Is it looking at that, or can you build that into the logic?
You know, let's take that one, and I'll have to find out. I don't quite remember.
Okay. When it finds an existing record, is there a link to the existing record that you can click on? Yes, you do see your...
Yes, absolutely.
Great, okay. So many compliments. Yay. I like this. So what about existing, what if you have duplicates in your system right now? How does this help you?
Great question. So as part of one of the things that we did was, in terms of the progression, was to first plug the hole so we prevent any more dupes coming in. The next thing we're working over the next couple of releases is what we call bulk dupe detection. So essentially take one of your rules and apply that to your entire record set and find all the duplicates. So that is something that we're working on.
So that's a future woohoo.
It is a future woohoo, yeah.
But how many points are you going to retire on that one?
I don't know. I don't think it's that's been out there. I haven't seen that one.
Be a big one.
It has to be. Go vote on it.
Yeah, well, I'll put that woohoo on my personal calendar to make sure I don't miss it.
Okay.
A person is asking how it works with a web-to-lead integration. That's a great question.
That is a great question. So web-to-lead essentially will be using essentially the underlying API, so the behavior is the same. My recommendation, and what we saw was during the beta use, was that you perhaps want to use a particular user that you're going to filter and not apply that duplicate rule. Because a lot of times with web-to-lead, you want to allow the duplicate to potentially be created. It's okay. You don't want to tell your prospect, it's like, no, I'm sorry, you can't download this white paper where you've already done it one time. So you want to create that, but also then report on it. So you can set up a conditional logic on the dupe rule that says if it's from particular user type, that you're using for an API or a profile or has a certain flag in a record, to ignore, and then you can have a secondary dupe rule that then applies to that.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a best practice that we should put in your community group.
I think so. I think that's we have some best practices that came out through the use that we should highlight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should definitely highlight that, because you wouldn't want to drop those leads. You'd want to know about them.
Correct.